Well, hello there. How is everyone? You amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. It's Friday, baby. Yes, it is. It's Friday. I'm right. I'm correct. And you can take that to the bank. I know I'm very good at getting days right. But no, it is Friday. You're looking absolutely amazing. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And we've got some meat and potatoes to get into. And we're going to go into it. Make sure later on to catch video 2. This is video 1. And we're going to blow some minds today. Because look, let's get straight into it. Because what are we talking about? We're talking about this to start with. Candace Owen has come out referencing the injury to Charlie Kirk, which we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about that later. Because in this video, that video has spurned some backlash. Primarily from people who are supportive of Josh Hammer. And, he's not happy. He's not happy. And if he ever see this video, which he's not going to, he would be even less happy. Because this is going to make him look somewhat of a twat. So, look, who is Josh Hammer to Charlie Kirk? Candace Owen's targets Conservative after betrayal dream. Right-wing commentator Candace Owen has now targeted Josh Hammer in a fresh theory she is following in Charlie Kirk's killing. Candace Owen's a right-wing commentator is now targeting Josh Hammer, a fellow Conservative political commentator, as she follows theories in the wake of Charlie Kirk's killing. Now, obviously, the way that some things are worded against Candace makes Candace look bad, but this video is going to make Josh Hammer look even worse in a second, and we can't get away from what we're seeing. I'm not saying or pointing the finger at anyone and saying that they're involved in anything, but what we can't do is ignore the fact that there's things that they do, things that they say, and when they choose to try and do rebuttals, that they kind of hang themselves because the public have got their eyeballs all over this. So look, it says a 31-year-old founder of Turning Point USA was fatally shot when attending an event at the Utah Valley University on September the 10th. In recently released information by Owen, she points to purported tensions between Kirk and pro-Israel donors. And this is where it all kind of spurns from, because it says while Owens initially withheld the names of the people in the group, she later revealed that Josh Hammer was among them and said a purported text from Hammer read, "This might feel good short term, but it's not good long term in my opinion." She stated that this was Hammer replying to Kirk about bringing Owens in to replace Carlson. Notably, TPUSA spokesperson Andrew Colvert confirmed the text released by Owens to be authentic and said Kirk's views on Israel were complicated and nuanced. Complicated and nuanced. So before we get back into making Josh Hammer look a twat, we must just... No, how do we do this? How do we do this? No, let's do this first, because then the next clip will sort of ram the point home. Okay, so Josh Hammer has come out and he has put, "I have been extremely reluctant to post screenshot from a murdered friend. It feels icky, I don't like it. But while I was offline this week for a holiday, a high-profile, deeply unwell lunatic used screenshots of an intimate group chat I was in with Charlie Kirk and some others to impugn my character in the worst way and allege I somehow had foreknowledge or worse of my own friend's horrific assassination. In those screenshots from about 3:30 at 4 p.m. EDT, the day before he was killed, Charlie was blowing off steam in a private group chat setting. Donors have every right to withhold donations, so he's in support of donors withholding donations. Yeah, they have every right to, but it's whether the reason behind the withholding is warranted and just. And if it's not because they're trying to leverage the individual to behave in a certain way that goes against the principles of the business in order to retain those donations. If you're trying to say, look, you're going to behave in this way, we want you to, or we're going to cut millions of pounds of donations, then I wouldn't say that that's something that you rarely want to be supportive of. But anyway, this is going to get worse, and the organisation, CEOs, chairman have every right to be upset when donors withhold those donations. That is just the nature of donors and donees in the not-for-profit space. As I've previously explained, the notion that Charlie Kirk was turning on his career-long friendships with the Jewish people and the Jewish state of Israel, as opposed to sarcastically blowing off steam in a private group chat setting, is an egregious lie and is bellied by the facts. Bellied by the facts. So what he's trying to say is that Charlie Kirk saying that he may have to step away from the sort of the Israel support and rethink things, he was saying sarcastically. So before we make him look even fucking worse, let's now head over to here and see whether this supports Charlie Kirk being sarcastic about how he felt about all this when he's speaking to Megyn Kelly. And I know we've seen this before, but we do just need to refresh our minds. Let's listen.
Are so knee-jerk about calling you anti-Semitic or getting deeply offended if you say anything that doesn't...
Did you just saw his reaction? You only have to watch his face when she talks about him being called, or people being called anti-Semitic who go against certain things around the pro-Israel situation. But listen.
Align with their narrative, that it undermines their own cause. And I have to tell you, I find it very irritating because I do feel like some of us have earned the right to have some credibility on the subject of Israel and don't want to be called those names when we have some mild pushback on some of the overreaches, whether it's, whether they're winning or losing the propaganda war right now. And my contention is they've begun to lose it. And I realize it's propaganda coming at us from Hamas, but their numbers have turned. Here in America, they've turned, not so much with Republicans, a little bit with Republicans, but completely with the Democrat Party and with independents. They have shifted mightily from at least double digits highs to single digit lows now with when it comes to approval. And
so, again, and I apologise, we have to stop it because that's just the rules of YouTube and not for commentary over the top. But you can see where this isn't about being anti-Semitic. This is just about mild pushbacks in certain areas to say, look, some of the things that you're doing, you've got overreaches here. We're going in a direction that we're not 100% comfortable with. It's not saying that he was going to, like Josh Hammer's trying to say, that people were saying that he was completely walking away from the whole lot and, he was turning his back on career-long friendships. No, this is the issue, that he was giving mild pushback to issues that were making him feel uncomfortable, and it was completely the opposite way round. It's like if you try to give these minor pushbacks, you're going to lose these lifelong friendships.
Also, with respect to, you and I speculated about this at the Turning Point event, whether the possibility of Jeffrey Epstein possibly being a Mossad agent or asset or affiliated with, that's been turned around on me too, to you must be anti-Semitic. What the hell? That's such bullshit. The same people who say you can criticize Israel, that's fine, we won't call you anti-Semitic if you criticize Israel, now turn around immediately and say you're anti-Semitic for even raising that. I completely reject that. And I raise this as a pushback against my friends on that particular strain of the aisle to watch it, because you don't want to alienate people who are openly your friends by going nuts in your crackdowns on mild pushback on anything related to Israel. Now you take it.
I'm so glad you brought this up, and I would second that. Megyn, I think I have a bulletproof resume showing my defense of Israel, both on campus, on social media, to great, let's just say mockery and scorn at times, because I believe it, right? I believe in the scriptural land rights given to Israel. I believe in fulfillment of prophecy. And again, I'm not a theologian, but I'm a Christian. My life was changed in Israel. The spiritual energy is so amazing there. I want them to win. I've said that repeatedly.
Same.
And However, Megan, you're hitting on something very potent and important. Now, let me first say, I don't want to judge an entire group because there's been many people in the pro-Israel world that have been very sweet, very kind, very nuanced, very Charlie. You were with us. You don't have to agree all the time. However, and I will say this, the behavior by a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning
ridiculous.
biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat, literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight for it. And there's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? Like, what am I doing? I'm sorry. Like, let's just take a step back here. Like, I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But like some of the mess, and you've seen how I've been treated, Megan, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating.
It's
been so unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
Though. No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Again, I just want to repeat for the 5th time. I love Israel. I want Israel to win.
So, again, you can go and watch that entire thing, but I just want to get enough of that home that when we look back at this post here, and when we've seen the text messages that Charlie's saying, bearing in mind that they've taken millions of pounds away, and he's basically turned around and said in this, I have to rethink things, and this stupid motherfucker is saying, he was just saying it sarcastically. We just blow off a bit of steam, mate. Blow off a bit of steam. He was being sarky. Fuck off, was he being sarky, you dumb twat. It clearly wasn't sarcasm, was it? So when he went and spoke to Megyn Kelly here, are we saying that he was being sarcastic throughout the whole of that fucking little tirade? Do you know what I mean? It's bollocks, mate. But anyway, then we have to go over to here, right? Because as I was looking through these, we just click back here. He was obviously in this. This was a 6 p.m. Eastern Time meeting, right? And he's put these up that seemingly he's tried to prove something. I genuinely don't understand what these show, but inadvertently he hung himself out to dry because this was a Zoom link for a 6 p.m. meeting. So some 6 p.m. Zoom link meeting, but then some clever fucker has put this up and said, that's a lie, how dare you, how much are you being paid? And apparently on September the 9th, he had retweeted a Donald Trump post from April 19th, 2013 that says, should be public execution for all to see. You will end this bullshit fast. And this would have been while they were in that meeting, while they were actually having a discussion. So he's retweeting something about there should be a public execution, and then apparently on September the 10th at 3:57 p.m. he literally just wrote public execution. Obviously, I did a bit of homework to see whether I could find this, and I couldn't find this. So the question is, did he just write that on September 10th, which would have looked fishy as fuck if literally the day before Charlie Kirk is executed, he is retweeting about there should be a public execution. Then, lo and behold, there is a public execution. And on the day, he then just retweets or just tweets public execution. So I did go back over to see whether I could find it, and he did indeed. That is authentic, the top post, where he did on September the 10th seemingly redo this post here. Should be public execution for all to see. You will end this bullshit fast. The only thing I couldn't find was the seeming accusation there that on the 9th he literally just tweeted public execution randomly. Just have a quick scan through here, because again, when you think that you're being accused of looking dodgy, potentially knowing things, there's usually a caveat to that. Do you know what I mean? There's usually things that make you look slightly fucking dodgy. And there you go. There you go. So they're all coming after Candace Owens because she is questioning things. Again, later on today, we're going to talk about the injury and just something and putting that to bed. But these are coming after her hard. She's apparently an unhinged fucking lunatic. But yet you've got people coming out who are trying to downplay the severity of something that absolutely was severe. There was a massive issue. And again, this ain't about pointing the finger and saying this person's involved, that person's involved, this country's involved, that country's involved. It's about looking at the facts that we're being presented with and trying to make sense of them. And it's very, very obvious that some people are trying to downplay things. And why would you do that? Why do it? Embrace it. Embrace it, be honest, be open. You silly motherfuckers. Love you all, and I'll catch you all later. Video 2. Don't miss it. Mwah.